This course is all about Cisco SA Firewall. But before going to Cisco SA Firewall, we need to know some basic stuff. And those basic stuff is common network security terms. And those are assets, vulnerability, exploit, threat, attack, risk, and countermeasure. So what is assets? Anything which belong to any organization or company which they invest on them and which is valuable for the organization. So we call it assets for that organization. And assets can be changed company to company and organization to organization. And this is our main goal, to protect this organization assets. These assets can be anything. It can be a building, it can be a vehicles, it can be furniture, it can be a machine, it can be laptop, it can be anything. It can be tangible, it can be untangible, it can be anything. So we call it in assets. And to provide it a physical security and network security, this is our role and job. Second term is vulnerability. What is vulnerability? Weaknesses in a system or in design. Because we are human and definitely we can do a mistake. It can be in a software, it can be in an operating system, it can be in a protocol, it can be in application, it can be in anything. And sometimes we call them a bugs as well. Okay, so this is a vulnerability, weaknesses in the system. And this weaknesses in the system, hacker use and they utilize this to attack on the system, either operating system or resources or whatever. So we call it a vulnerability. The third term is exploit. Exploit is a method, a way, a tool, a techniques which a hacker use or attacker use to to gain the access and to destroy the system, whatever, in network services. It can be anything. So we call it exploit. Other term is threat. What is threat? Anything. Anything which is dangerous to the assets. Asset, we just say what is assets. To the company assets, we call it a threat. And threat can be anything. It can be accidentally triggered. It can be plan and deploy. And there are many threat. It can be a spyware, it can be a hacker, it can be a virus, it can be a keylogger, it can be many things which we will discuss these terms later on. So it means you are around many thread. You can get any thread. Okay. Then another term is attack. What is attack? The action which attacker either hacker take to harm your assets. And we just say what is assets. To destroy your assets, to down your services, to down your resources, we call it attack. Now what is risk? Risk means potential loss, compromise or damage or destruction, so we call it a risk. Like maybe there is a risk. In everyday life we also use the same word, what is risk. I don't want to go in detail because we already done this in Palo Alto course, so that's why I'm just doing specifically. Now countermeasure. Countermeasure means the techniques, method which a security professional use to mitigate this threat. And we just say threat. Any dangerous. So any danger, anything to protect them, we call it a countermeasure to protect them. So it means this is a like a cycle. It means security is not a one-time job to protect your system and you set aside that it's okay now. I have a firewall, I have IPS, I have IDS, I have all these steps, I have antivirus, and that's it. Now I'm an okay and I'm a security engineer. I will sleep and everything is protected. No, because we just say this is a human created thing. If firewall and all these steps, then can be a bugs. And even in operating system, even in services, maybe you didn't protect something, maybe you forgot something to protect, you spare a hole for the attacker. It can be, yeah, it's a human, you protect them. maybe someone know better than you, because you have to think like a attacker. So you have to, that's why many organizations do penetration testing their organization. Just like our organization, they hire a team from India and UK with combined, and they penetrate all our devices, all everything. I give them access, they say give them some access so they can access everything, and they find many vulnerability in that system, which we wasn't know that, yeah, okay, so that can be. So you have to think like a hacker. So it means it's not a one time job, it's like a circle. You have to all the time play a role, and hacker is also playing a role, attacker. So sometime you will win, sometime he will win, and this lose and win, this is the circle of common security terms. Maybe you will lift something, he will compromise, he will, there is a vulnerability, he will exploit and he will attack on your system. You will again protect that thing, there will be another vulnerability, he will again attack again, and so on. So this is circle of a risk, which is all the time you have to follow. Okay, so these were the common security terms. So let me explain you by a lab related to these terms. So what I need to do, I need to create a small topology to show you what is vulnerability and what is exploit tool and what is a countermeasure. At least we know these terms. So let me go to JNS and let me open anything with any name. Okay, and from here, let me take one router. Okay, and from here, you need to install this toolbox, which I already told you, and the other is web term, because we will use this all the course, so you have to know about these three things at least. And I took one toolbox which I gave them a name with server, and I need with web term one client. So this is my client, okay, and I need a switch, so let me take this switch. Okay, and let me connect here, and this one here, and this one. Okay, that's it. uh, Before to start, let me right click and edit configuration, give them any IP you like, remove this hash sign from here, and let's suppose 2 is okay. So control A, control C, 0/2 is the IP of this system. PC1, let me give them IP1, either 3 suppose. Okay, and save. And now let me on these devices, and let me quickly write down the IP so that you know. 0.3, this is IP address of this system, and IP address of this server, which is HTTP and FTP server. And a router is this one. Okay, so we will assign one to this router. So I just taken 3 system. This will play a role of client. This is my FTP server and TFTP server, FTP server and HTTP server. While this one will be our telnet server. I just need to show you some vulnerability. That's it, nothing else. Okay, so let me go to router to quickly enable telnet and assign this IP to router. Okay, so configuration interface E0/0 IP address 192.168.0.1, which we decide with subnet mask, no shutdown. Okay, and line VTY 0 to 4, transport input all, and password 123, login, enable password 123. You already know this thing, so that's why I quickly type. No need to explain. I just enable telnet on this system and just put assign the IP. Do show IP interface brief. the IP0/1. Okay, so telnet is enabled on this system, and this is a HTTP and FTP server. Before telnet to this system and HTTP and FTP to this server, let me right click here and start capture. Wireshark is a network analyzer tool where you can use them for many purposes, troubleshooting, capturing, many things. And let me go to this system now. Console. Okay, first thing, let me go to terminal, and best way is to check my IP. It's okay. And now I need to do telnet 192.168.0.1, which is my telnet server. Password is 123, enable is 123, and show IP interface brief. Show IP interface brief. So I can see all the detail. Now let me go to 192.168.0.2, which is my web server. So I go to web server, and the same as my FTP server as well. So let me go from here, FTP. Oh, sorry. So let me remove the HTTP. Okay, because this is FTP server as well. This Docker is default password is username is root and password is GNS3. So now I log into my FTP server, I visit to my HTTP server, and I make a telnet session. Let's go to capture. First thing, let me see FTP. Here you will find the username and password, whatever I type it. Username is root when I log in. Password is GNS3, which I told you. Okay, so everything is visible. So in this scenario, Wireshark is my exploit tool. I use them Wireshark as an exploit tool to find out the information. And FTP has the vulnerability to send and receive all the information in clear text. So this is vulnerability in this protocol. I will tell you what is the countermeasure. Now let me go to HTTP now. We capture their traffic as well. So click on any HTTP traffic and follow HTTP stream. You will find whatever I visit network toolkit. This is network toolkit. What is this displaying here? All these information is here in my Wireshark. It's here. Look at everything is mentioned here. You can place your file and put and upload permitted. It's written here. It's this thing. So I can see the whole whatever is being sent through HTTP. I can clearly see. Now go back to now telnet, which you already know. Telnet. Let me filter it telnet and click on any telnet and go to follow TCP stream. You will find the 123 is my password. Show IP interface brief. I type the command enable, and also password for the console is 123. And these are all the detail whatever I type it. Again, everything is being sent in a clear text. So what you say? So it means that telnet, FTP and HTTP, they have a protocol vulnerability. We just say that the vulnerability can be anything. Let me go to vulnerability. It can be a network protocol, okay, and can be operating system. Like an operating system, you have many vulnerability. That's why they are releasing patches. So you have to update your operating system all the time, because hacker find like the same way we find in telnet, the same way they find vulnerability in the system and they attack on a Windows system or Linux or whatever. And the same way is in application, in browser, in extension, browser extension, and so many things. So by this way we see that this network protocol has a vulnerability, and I use a Wireshark as an exploit tool. What is exploit? A way, a method, a tool to use to find out and vulnerability and damage the target system. Now I know the FTP password, I know the telnet username and password, I know HTTP whole information. So here the Wireshark is my exploit tool. Now coming to the countermeasure. Now I can do attack as well. I can harm the system. I know the username and password. And it was a potential risk there. Why we are using such tool and application and protocol which is weaker, where there is a vulnerability. Now the countermeasure part. To countermeasure such things, which in my lab, in this small lab, rather than to use a telnet, you can use a SSH. Rather than to use a FTP, you can use SFTP. Rather than to use a HTTP, you can use HTTPS, which is a secure form of HTTP. SFTP is a secure form of FTP. And SSH is a secure form of telnet. So these are the countermeasure. Again, yes, if you say no, I need to use this, then you have to use a VPN as well. If you can make a VPN, transport VPN, so you can use this tool again. It will be encrypted. Either way, there are many other ways to secure these protocol, but I'm just telling you how we can counter measure. So it's better not to use such protocol and such application which is vulnerable and there is vulnerability. So this was our first part, basic terminology.